So I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was 4. Okay. I was having crazy tantrums. And at age 4, my parents decided to take me to a psychiatrist and they diagnosed me with ADHD and they immediately put me on medication. I don't know if you ever heard of Ritalin, but they put me on Ritalin. Ritalin, to put a 4-year-old on Ritalin is really, really something. I was a chubby kid. You have to imagine 4 years old with no neck type of kid, right? That was me, very chubby. And 3 months after being on Ritalin, I looked anorexic. Like I was skinny to the bone. I wasn't eating anything. My mom was terrified. She contacted the doctor. They took me off Ritalin immediately. And then 3 months after they took me off of Ritalin, I was chubby again. So I personally understand how ADHD medication can be used to help with the symptoms of ADHD, but at what cost? And at some point, even if a person is on medication, you're still going to need to learn skills. I think a lot of times we use medication as a cop out, right? I'm on meds. It's this like this amazing thing that's letting me focus and I have full control of my executive functions. But you become a slave to your meds. You now rely on your meds and you feel like you can't do anything unless you're on your meds. I actually know somebody who told me, man, my meds are unbelievable. I can get everything done. I run all my businesses. I do absolutely everything on my meds. I feel like I'm unstoppable. And if I don't take my meds, I'm stuck on the couch and I can't do anything. That doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound good. If you don't take your meds, you're stuck on the couch. You can't get anything done. Like, is that the type of life that a person wants to live? Like, I have to take my meds. So this is how I was raised, right? I was raised like this guy, right? If I'm not on my meds, then nothing gets done. And while I was on my meds, no one taught me any skills. I never learned any skills. It was take your meds and you'll be able to function. Don't take your meds, then you won't be able to function. You need your meds. You're a person that needs meds, Ari. That's you. You can't do anything unless you're on your meds, and your ADHD is going to take absolute control over you and nothing will get done. That's how I was raised. At 18 years old was probably one of the, besides getting married and having kids, another great moment in my life, a very big accomplishment in my life is when my psychiatrist told me, Ari, you no longer need to be on your meds. And my mom and my father and I, we went into the kitchen. We got a large, tall glass of water and we got all of my meds and we emptied it out and we put it in the water. We just watched all of it dissolve. And it was probably such a happy day in my life to be like, I don't need you anymore. It was symbolic, getting rid of this thing that I felt enslaved to. And it wasn't just a feeling. Anyone who got to know me, whether it was friends of mine or my parents, friends of the family, they would always tell me, you don't look good on these meds. I was like, I don't feel so good. I don't feel so good on these meds. So now that's what got me into doing what I do. All of that life experience that I still go through ADHD today, but I don't rely on meds anymore. It's my own, all the skills that I've learned throughout the years and it's helped me. I now share that with, I don't like to call the people I work with clients. I like to call them warriors because I feel like when you're changing your life and you're growing, you make that commitment to grow, you're a warrior. So all the warriors that I work with, this is what we do. We learn skills, we put systems into place, and we learn that our ADHD is actually a superpower. Because that's what I believe. It's a superpower and we have to learn how to utilize it.
First of all, I want to say we probably should have had this podcast like 8 years ago, and you should have explained all of this to Alex because he's going, oh, okay, Simon isn't that crazy. That's probably what's going through his mind right now. And I was put on Ritalin when I was 7. And while you were talking, a lot of questions came up to my mind. This is a huge topic. You have people who their kids have various disorders like ADHD and they don't know what to do, right? And you have people who are adults who suspect they have ADHD and maybe they don't even want to label themselves as somebody like this because that's an excuse, but it's also might be real, but there's guilt, but there's a lot of problems. And then there's the root of the issue that, and the solutions that I want to talk with you about after, but I want to go even deeper and I want to ask you to describe in your way, like, so that people who don't have ADHD could understand better what it's like. And maybe people who have it and never felt understood, never felt like somebody else is like them. They felt like they are broken or something is wrong with them. What is it to have ADHD? And what's the difference between a different, normal person, air quotes?
Okay. So the analogy I like to use, right? The difference between someone who is neurotypical and someone who is neurodivergent, right? Someone who doesn't have ADHD, I like to compare them to a New Yorker. All right. You go to New York, you go to a store in Manhattan, right? And the store manager in this store has everything. Like he's punctual. He has the clipboards with all the to-do lists and everything is so clear and efficient. And this store is getting things done in a normal, regular rate. And everything's getting done.
I can relate.
Functional. Like Alex. Alex is the New York store manager.
And Simon
Right?
has ADHD, which is the opposite, right? And it drove me crazy all
So
my life.
Simon
By
is like
Bombay, like,
a store manager in Hawaii. Okay.
Okay.
Where shows up a little bit late, doesn't really know what's going on, but it does get done. It just get done in a different type of way. And it might get done in a week, it might get done in 2 weeks, but it's going to get done. And it's not going to look so organized. And then you might be wondering, why is that? Because our brain, the brain of an ADHD man, is like the Hawaiian store manager. He's like on vacation. Our brain manager, as a man with ADHD, is on vacation. He's on the beach. His feet are up. He's drinking a margarita. He has a straw hat on. And I think that's why men with ADHD vacation very well. We're really good at it. And I would say that's a clear picture. That's the difference. Our executive functions, right? Or it's difficult for us to really grab hold of our executive functions. There's 11 of them. And for each person, there's going to be a different executive function that he struggles with. There might be some things that, say, Simon and I, right? There may be things, Simon, that you and I both struggle in equally when it comes to our executive functions. And there may be some things that we don't struggle with the same. It could be that when it comes to attention to detail, you're amazing, right? Could be, I'm not so great at it, right? It could be that when it comes to memory, you're amazing. I sometimes leave my car key to the refrigerator. Everyone is going to experience their executive functions, their symptoms with ADHD differently. On top of that, to just make things even more complicated, you're going to experience different types of symptoms from when you're a toddler, from when you're an adolescent, to when you're an adult. Your symptoms are constantly going to be, revolving and becoming different while you grow.
I have a
If that
question.
makes sense. Yeah.
So you said in the beginning that it's like a superpower, right? So
Yeah.
what kind of superpower? Do you have like a list of what have you seen? What's your experience of superpower that you could mention? And what is your
And what is mine? So we could see that a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of successful people, Dean Martell, who's a world-renowned coach, Richard Branson, who's the founder of the Virgin Group, Justin Timberlake, right? A lot of successful people have ADHD. They learned that they're not meant to sit down and work for 8 hours a day, right? They realize that their brain works differently. They learned how to hone on their creativity. They learned how to make their ADHD work for them. Now, when you learn that and you apply that into the direction that, like a focused direction, then you start to unlock this superpower. you still have to learn how to deal with the things that you struggle with, right? Just like anyone, you don't have to have ADHD to put in the work to learn how to deal with the challenges that you have to deal with in this world. But when you do that specifically, when it comes to ADHD, the things that you struggle with your ADHD, and you take yourself out of an environment that doesn't work for you, for instance, like an 8-hour job, right? And you start using your natural entrepreneur skills, then you start to unlock this superpower. But it's a process. Like in any superhero movie, when they start to learn, when the main character starts to learn that he has a superpower, what happens? If he learns how to fly, he's flying into walls, or if he learns that you can shoot fire from his hands, he like burns trees. Like he doesn't know what he's doing. He's trying to learn this power that he just discovered that he has. And I would say, to answer the second question, Alex, what is my superpower? I think I'm rediscovering that every day. I would say that I love helping people. I love working with people. I love people. And for the longest time, I didn't know what my superpower was. I didn't even realize that ADHD was a superpower. It's my superpower. It really is. It's my superpower. Instead of letting it control me, I choose that I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to use this thing that people try to label me as, oh, you need an IEP. For those who don't know what an IEP is, it's like in the American school system, if you have learning disabilities and they count ADHD as a learning disability, you get or you're considered like in the special ed, right? So and I was in special ed class. I had teacher assistants throughout most of my school years. So no one thought I would graduate from middle school. No one thought I would graduate from high school, let alone go to college. And I did that. But to go back, like I refuse to be put into this label like something's wrong with me. Instead, I embraced this idea that it's actually my superpower, and connecting my love for people, right, with this thing called ADHD. And I know a lot of people who have ADHD who love to help people. That's where they find joy, is when they're helping people.
I think Simon is similar as you in this case.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And I just want to add that when I'm walking around Vietnam and like I get to talk to a local, they ask me, are you working here? You live here? What are you doing in Vietnam? So are you on vacation? So I always answer, my life is a vacation. It's exactly that, because I wake up when I want to wake up, and I do things like I can try to force myself, but it doesn't really work. But I get things done, a lot of things that I love to do. I think what would be really interesting to help people understand and connect even more is if I tell you a few things that I struggle with, and you can tell me like what is my, what was it? The empirical
Executive
function?
functions.
Executive function. Yeah. So you can tell me which executive function I suck at. Let's call it that. Or
Okay.
or that I will good at. Let me think about that. Alex, you can add. So first of all, I'm also dyslexic. So spelling
Two.
is a nah.
Yeah, it
Can't
cannot-
spell.
It can't be good. Disorganized?
Wait, give me a chance, Alex. And so if I know you have a book of complaints, but give me a chance. Because Alex is really organized, so he's been hating me for about 10 years now. He has a lot of rage. Yeah,
Alex is the New York store
I
manager.
don't
you know?
anymore,
Yeah.
but I used to a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
yeah. We work through it as business partners. We have to. We have
I
to
could
be
not
understood.
understand it. It was driving me nuts. Like I couldn't understand
Yeah.
why. It's like it was very hard for me to accept it. I think I knew he was not doing on purpose, but in the same time, I was thinking, I've told you like 100 times the same thing. How can you not do it on purpose? But now it's so much better. Really, I have no complaint almost.
Simon's made you more
Um,
sensitive.
But yeah, organization in general was a huge challenge. Attention to detail, like I used to hate details. They used to really trigger me. Just like having forced my mind to focus on telling difference between this and that when I don't care. What else? Forgetting. It's very short-term memory. My long-term memory is
Amazing.
crazy.
Amazing.
I remember things from my childhood, like little details from my childhood. That, like I just gather details, like when I was 5 years old, hey, Dad, how come you were wearing that shirt? And how come you ate that item? I'm very, very good at long-term memory. But my short-term memory, no, it's like
So
I have to take action quickly unless it doesn't get done or else it doesn't get done. What else, Alex?
well, you remember the details very well, but when it's time to spit them out, it's very hard for you. Like you say, just used to trigger you,
To
right?
break,
Yeah, to
to
break
break
down.
it down.
Yes.
Obviously, I remember the details of things that are interesting to me, like clockwork perfectly, but everything else that I didn't care, nah.
Another thing that I can think of is that you used to be very tired very quickly. We will work for
So
30 minutes, 1 hour, and then it will be dead.
yeah.
It was very difficult for me because I want to get shit done, and I'm trying to work with Simon, and he couldn't. He was so tired that we had to take breaks for hours.
So that could be connected to your nervous system, which is deeply connected to ADHD. I'll explain, right? So there's something called ADHD shutdown. Sometimes it could be triggered by just pushing yourself so hard or receiving bad news, right? It could be triggered by something emotional happening to you that now your nervous system is shot. You're emotionally depleted and you can't process anything and you can't really do much, right? And when this happens, you can get really tired from it. It can happen. It can definitely happen.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that answers your question or shed some light. The other ones that you said, Simon, you named executive functions.
Yeah.
So attention to detail is an executive function. Forgetting things is connected to memory, right? Executive function. Organization is another executive function. So if it took me to my mid-20s, man, I used to do it as a teenager when I was in rehab, right? I was in rehab. My parents sent me to rehab at age 12, and I was there from 12 to 17. That's a whole nother, it's connected to everything we're talking about, but we'll come back to that maybe. But in rehab, I started to learn how to make my bed, right? And then I stopped for many years. And then when I was in yeshiva, had a rabbi who shared with me here, like, Ari, I know that you're trying to get some control, gain some control in your life. Start to by making your bed every day. And it just stuck with me. It just stuck with me. So when we do something, right, one small thing in one certain area, then we slowly start to bring organization to that thing, right? And then you build from it. So I started with making my bed. And then the next part, after doing that for a while, you take on something else. You do that for a while, you take something else. Because when you have ADHD, you get intimidated very easily when there's something that catches you off guard or there's too many things. We get intimidated and then nothing gets done. So it's a process. It's a slow process because we're trying to make real long, life-changing moves. We're not trying to just do something for a little bit and then back to our old habits.
It's a bit complicated for me because I had, in addition to the dyslexia and the ADHD, I also had PTSD, like complex PTSD. I guess those things tend to come together for many people, and that created the exhaustion and all these problems and stuff like that. Two questions came to my mind. The question that came to my mind was why most of all. Okay, so I have these challenges in my executive functions. What's the purpose of it? Why? Why does it happen?
What do you mean?
Why can't I be like Alex? Why can't I be normal?
Because you were born different, my man. And in a way, again, nothing against beautiful neshamas like Alex, right? But we need to stop looking at ADHD as this thing that holds me back, this thing that makes me a difficult person and doesn't make me as smart as people who don't have it. We need to stop looking at it like that, right? You have a bunch of amazing skills, Simon, right? And part of what makes you who you are, your ADHD, whether you recognize it or not, helps give you natural entrepreneurial abilities, right? Makes you a beast, right? And what you do. It's because your ADHD brings out your creativity. It brings out you think in a way that neurotypical people just do not think. And you found a way to access that, to tap into that, whether you're conscious of it or not. You found a way to tap into that. And that's why you're able to tell locals in Vietnam, I'm always on vacation, baby. It's what I do. It's my life.
Yeah, but
So,
it was very hard for him because he couldn't even
Yeah.
get a job properly, like work
yeah.
normally, like a 9 to 5. Like he always was surviving. So it was very hard. And I'm thinking about it now. That's the price to pay to have your kind of brain. And I was lucky
A
to meet
person with
Simon.
ADHD should work here.
Yeah, and I was lucky to meet.
You go crazy.
It changed my life literally with so many things, and so yeah, so it was worth it. Now I'm thinking about another thing. I'm thinking about how you guys perceive ADHD as bad because, and Simon, you say I'm normal, but this is what they wanted in school. This is what school they wanted you to be good boys, right? And be normal and do tasks like robots, right? But this is not, this is wrong for school, but we are not in this world. We are out of school.
Yeah.
So it's not wrong at all. And if everybody was like me, then we won't have you guys.
So I have something funny to say. Okay. I agree 100% with you, Ari. And also everything that you just said, Alex, is correct because I am me and Ari, you are you, and everybody that is neurotypical or neurodiverse, whatever, they are they. And we all need to accept ourselves as we are. There's nothing else. But Alex's life is easier. It's just that, like way easier.
In this world, maybe if we were different world, it would be harder for me.
Yeah. So that easier the way that our society functions. If it was like Mad Max and everybody was going around wearing like leather and it was like the apocalypse, probably would be easier for me, right? I guess. So maybe I'm unlucky. No Mad Max?
I've never seen Mad Max. Actually,
Uh,
I don't think I've seen Mad Max.
Okay, don't. Big waste of time. But imagine the end of the world. Everybody is like either a cannibal or a gang member, and there is no law, and people are basically wearing like ridiculous leather. Like it's a joke, yeah. But okay, maybe Conan the Barbarian. If heard of him or saw.
Yeah.
So it's chaos, like in a chaotic environment. Probably a lot of ADHD people, they're very alert to those things and they would be perceptive and some of their superpowers will come up. But yeah, man, I will ask you about a few solutions, but I'm just getting the sense that you have something you want to say, Ari.
Yeah. When you were saying that Alex has it easier, right?
Yeah.
When we look at someone else's life, if you're like, wow, he has it so much easier than me, or he has this and he has that. We never look at the opposite side of, oh, he struggles with this and he struggles with that. And when we want to live someone else's life, we never put into account all the things that they struggle with as well. We have to we have to be mindful of that everyone was created with their own gifts and their own struggles. Every single person in this world, right? Simon, you have your gifts. Alex has his gifts. I have my gifts, and each one of us have our own struggles. That's unique to us and what we have to go through in this matrix of a world, right? That's what we got. And it's not like we can make an e-trans, like, okay, I'll switch this struggle with you and this gift with you. No. We got our gifts, we got our struggles. And it doesn't make much sense to be like, man, this person, he has it much better than me. And it's so much easier for him to get things done. It might be easier for Alex to get things done, right? But it could be that the struggles that Alex does have, because Alex does have struggles because he's human, right? Is intense for him and it's hard for him. And you may not know what they are,
No, he knows
you know,
everything. That's
or
it.
you probably know
In
what
our case, yeah.
but they're hard for
So,
him.
yeah.
It could be this much easier for him to do the things that are hard for you. And that's why you perceive it as, oh, life is easier for Alex because the things that you struggle with just comes natural to him. But he has his own stuff, just like all of us. We all got our own stuff.
I'm
So
thinking about
yeah,
something.
you're right.
I'm saying about something because someone you said it like I have it easier, like you are looking at it as an individual. And we are not meant to be alone as human. We are meant to collaborate and help each other, which basically what we've been doing for the past 13 years. But if more people will collaborate, will have good relationship and collaborate and help each other, they could do amazing things. We don't have to be alone. We don't have to be individual to do things by ourselves. And I think right now the world as it is very individual. So it's a bit of a problem for people who struggle with that, with ADHD, for example.
Struggle alone, yes. Yeah. So I know all the struggles of Alex and myself, like in our case. And of course, everybody has struggle. And I understand, Ari, that probably the ABCs of what you teach and how you help people is to, first of all, accept this is me. There's nothing where I can do. I am me, and I can look at it with the glass half full, or I can look at it as the glass half empty. And that's something that I talk about a lot. Glass half empty people. Those are not people that thrive very much. And even if they do thrive, in some ways, they don't enjoy it. And I'm the Hawaiian easygoing guy, so I always enjoy. Yeah. So I get you, Ari. We should not, in general, we shouldn't compare ourselves. Everybody's an individual and like supposed to struggle in life until we don't, until we discover who we are, what we're meant to do. And it's all meant to be in the end. But that's how I see life. Like every struggle has a solution and answer. We just have to really work through it. Something that came up to me while you were talking, Ari, you were talking about like getting organized and focusing on one thing at first, tidying up your bed. And I think for me, when I discovered meditation, that kind of feels similar to your bed making. And one of the biggest breakthroughs in my ADHD journey was to learn about breathwork and meditation. I don't know if you've even heard about this or you use it or anything
Yeah,
like
I've
that.
done, I do meditation and I've done breath work before, ended up in the fetal position crying. Pal.
That's good. Yeah. For me, if I start my day and I do my routine with meditation and breath work every day, then it's like taking Ritalin for me, just much better with no side effects. Like my mind is on point. I'm not all over the place. I have more energy. I'm less exhausted. So yeah, that's just my perspective. What are some of the solutions that you offer that you help people implement in their lives?
So I believe that every single person has created a story for themselves. We all have these negative beliefs. And really big part of making a real change in your life and getting from where you are right now to where you want to be is rewriting this story, realizing that you're not these negative things that you've convinced yourself that you are. So it's reframing how you look at yourself and how you view yourself. That's one aspect of the work that I do. We also work on, teaching you skills of how to really manage your day to day. It really depends on who I'm working with and what they're going through and what will work for them. Cause there's so many skills, like for instance, what works for you in the morning, breath work and meditation may not work for Joe Schmo. Joe Schmo might want to go to the gym, right? And that will also give him that start that he needs to have a strong day. There might be someone who needs to journal in the morning. Like there's so many There's so many tools out there that we can acquire, and you have to find what works. Hope that answers the
Absolutely.
question.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man. Is there anything else that you think that people, maybe somebody wants to work with you, or maybe just something that you think, maybe a message you want to share, anything else you would like to add that you think is important?
Yeah, for sure. There's a quote from a rabbi that I quote all the time. Name was Rabbi Nachman of Breslov. And he used to say that if you can believe that you're broken, you can believe that you could be fixed. And we all have this amazing potential. We just need to tap into it and not focus on all the things that we're struggling with and not focus on all our flaws, but to find the good points that we possess and bring it out into the world. And the world is waiting for it. The world is waiting for the real version of yourself. Oh, you're waiting for the real version of yourself. It's just, we got to believe that he's there.
Ari,
Yeah.
can you
Yeah.
tell me what it looks like to start working with you? What are the things you do with someone that want to work with you? How do you help them? What are the few steps they can take to already improve today before they even start working with you if they want?
So when I first meet somebody, right, it's usually like via video call because all the warriors that I work with are overseas for the most part. But first, it's understanding where you're struggling, right? Is understand what you're struggling with, right? It could be, and then going deeper in that thing. So it could be that I have a client who one day I have one of the warriors that I work with. He went to a job interview and he didn't get it. And he started to beat himself up, right? Feeling like he's not good enough. And we went deeper. We went deeper into this negative belief of not being good enough. And we were able to get to a place where he discovered where that came from. And it was a humongous breakthrough for him. And there's been other warriors that I work with who, and this is a lot of the time, I work with a lot of guys that have difficulty with focusing and getting things done. So it could be that I teach them skills on how to get things done and become more organized in your mind on how to get those things done. So it really depends on the person that I'm working with and what he needs,
Right.
what
There
he's
is
trying to do.
there is no one size fit all basically for ADHD. First, you have to analyze and understand what they struggle with and give them the right solution. So, like, even if we wanted to give them some tips and system how to improve it, we can't because we don't even know.
Really, it really, because we have to know what they're going through, you know, exactly what you said. There's no one size fits all. You know, like even though Simon and I both have ADHD,
Yeah, it's different.
we have different symptoms. His ADHD is going to be different than my ADHD. The executive functions that he has like trouble with, I may not, and vice versa. So really have to get to know the person and what they're going through.
I think this is very important because I didn't know that. I just learned something new now. I thought ADHD is the same for everyone, literally. Like, I thought you and Simon is the same ADHD. But now I understand that now next time I'm gonna meet someone that have ADHD, I know I cannot categorize, oh, they're like Simon, like they're Ari. No, it's like I have to understand that they are different. Might be different weakness and different superpower, right?
I think it could also maybe be, I don't know if it's just like ADHD. I find this similar to a lot of different things. Like Simon, you said you had dyslexia, right? I'm pretty sure I have dyslexia, right? Because when I read, I may see a word and it looks like a completely different word than what it actually is, right? But when it comes to spelling, I'm a phenomenal speller, right? But when it comes to reading, I can read something and the words look different to me. I have, I take my time with it, if that makes sense. Right? So it really, I think it's important when we're talking about people who have learning disabilities, who are neurodivergent, one size doesn't fit all. Symptoms are going to look different based on each person. We just can't put everyone in, oh, you're in the dyslexia box, or you're in the ADHD box. Therefore, you're like dot, 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 dot. No, it doesn't work like that. Everyone is different. Just like how we were saying earlier, everyone has their own gifts and everyone has their own struggles. Everyone experiences their ADHD, right, in a different light.
So how come the Ritalin? There is only one drug for ADHD, which is Ritalin, right?
No, there's so many drugs for
There is
ADHD.
many. Okay, I thought everybody that
Many.
have ADHD take Ritalin.
Have you ever heard of adderall?
Yes.
Adderall is another drug for ADHD. Concentra. There's a lot. There's a lot. I was on Adderall. Once they took me off of Ritalin, I was on Adderall. They tried me on something called Cetera at one point. Sometimes I get my drugs mixed up because when I was 9, I was mixed diagnosed with bipolar. I found out actually in my early 20s that I don't have bipolar. I was actually put on bipolar medication at age 9, all the way till I was 18. So 4 to 9, I was just on ADHD meds. And then from 9 to 18, I was on ADHD meds and bipolar meds. So, and I was also on anxiety meds at one point. All of this, in my adolescent years. So I sometimes get them confused, but there's not just one med for one. I don't like the word disorder, from one of these brain struggles that a person can deal with.
So if there's one thing anyone that is listening to this podcast should take away from this, I think, is that if you know someone that has ADHD, you should look for what is their superpower and focus on this more than their weakness. And that will change everything in their relationship. Because this is exactly what happened with Simon. When I started to look at his superpower and take advantage of this, our relationship completely shifted.
When you focus on someone's good points and you do that long enough, you no longer see the negative points. You see the good. And that's whether you have ADHD or you don't have ADHD. If you choose to see the good in another human being, that's what you're seeing.
I always told Simon, ADHD, you don't have ADHD, it doesn't exist. It's just in your mind. For me, you're just different. That's like, I don't have to name it. That's all.
There's a lot of people who get very offended, like they're in denial. They find out that their kids have it. They're in denial. They don't want to hear it from the school system. They don't want to hear it from their wife. They don't want to hear it from the doctors. There's nothing wrong with my kid. Like a lot of people can get really sensitive about it. There's nothing wrong with me. ADHD isn't real. A lot of people will get very sensitive about it.
Can you imagine? Not family enough.
I'm wondering about it. I think one last thing, because we don't want to prolong this too much. It was very valuable, but basically what I understood that the first step of in working with you is some sort of assessment. And I'm wondering if you have any resource, any test, any questionnaire, any kind of thing that you could give somebody that they could reach out to you. Like maybe it's even a website that that has some sort of, can give them some sort of information. Is there any resource like this, or am I dreaming?
I actually created a perfect ADHD free self-assessment for people who don't know if they actually have ADHD or not. So I actually created one, and anyone can reach out to me, Facebook. If you type in Ari Sarab, I'll be the only bearded Ari Sarab that you see. Or here,
I will put it in the description of the YouTube video so anyone can download it and put your information on the sheet so they can reach out to you.
But yeah, if someone reaches out and they want it, I have a self-assessment sheet that they can use. I've created like a grading tool that's connected to the sheet. So you add it up and see if you actually, look, it's not an actual test, right? Like you still have to go get diagnosed. Not diagnosing anyone with this test. Let's make that clear. Right? But it will help you understand if you're actually struggling, if you have ADHD or not. It'll help you understand that.
It's the first of awareness.
Yeah. There's a lot of people. I saw I was talking to someone that I met on one of the Facebook groups, and he literally just discovered that he has ADHD in his 50s. I have a client, right, who's 53, who's never like, he's just now really just want to work on it. And that's why I call all my clients warriors, man. At age 53, you're ready to tackle this thing. You're a warrior. When something holds you back for so long and for so many reasons, just if you can get the strength to grab it by the horns and just control it, you do that. Not everyone, the reason why not every single person is a growing person, because this stuff is hard, man. To make real change in your life is exhausting. It's not easy.
Become easier.
It
It's
separates boys
become easier
from
with
men.
time. Become easier.
Right, but to get yourself to do it, it's not simple, you know? That's why you have so many people in the world who are like, my mom was like this, dad was like this, their parents were like this. That's why we got generational trauma. No one wants to put in the work. Those who do put in the work, right? Those are some warriors. Those are people who are like, I'm choosing to change it up. I'm not, just because my parents were like this and their parents were like this and so forth, that doesn't have to be me. I see things in myself that I don't like and I want to change it. And it's possible. And the more that, and once, like you said, Alex, once you start to do the work, then it's like you want to, you just, it's addictive. You just want to keep growing and learning about how to just be the best version of yourself. And before you start this work, you don't even, you think that you see is what you get, but it's just not true.
Yes. I agree with you 100% on what you say. All right. I think we are done, guys.
Yeah, man. It was really interesting, Ari. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you guys. Seriously, we figured it out. We made it happen. We didn't give up. We persevered. We did it.
Yes, serious, yes. It was great having you, Ari. I was very happy to have this interview with you. You gave me a lot of insights, and I'm sure it's gonna help people as well. And yeah,
I'm sure it helps.
I'm sure I'll see you again sometime around.
Yeah, we'll have to do this another time.
Yeah, we can for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right. Thank you guys.